Time now for everybody's favorite guessing game, What's My Line? Throughout the world, only one company produces all types of business machines and systems, Remington Rand, who now invite you to play What's My Line?
And now let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the popular Broadway columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal-American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, the noted wit and author of the bestseller Treadmill to Oblivion, Mr. Fred Allen.
And at my left, sitting in for Miss Arlene Francis tonight, the young lady who stars in her own show, Life with Elizabeth, and who is about to start another program, July 7th, called Make the Connection, Miss Betty White.
We had on my left and at my left, to my left, we have a gentleman whose column every Sunday in This Week magazine delights millions of people, including me, Mr. Bennett Cerf.
If you could have heard Betty White, Dorothy Kilgallen, harmonizing Dick Rodgers' Careless Valentine just before we went on the air. Was it Careless Valentine?
Pretty rough, the way we
It was
sang.
beautiful. On my left, our peerless panel moderator, one of the few people in America who thinks alligators are found in the home, Mr. John Charles Daly.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Bennett. It's going to save me from answering a lot of letters. The young gentleman who raised alligators last week raises them primarily as pets for youngsters, little baby alligators, which you will find in the home.
Not my home.
Better than publishers yet. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. Tonight, we have some very nice folks. Again, I think some very interesting occupations. Interesting because I believe they're going to give our panel some trouble. We'll have a famous guest challenger a bit later, but let's let the experts meet our first challenger whose line has to be spotted. Will you sign in, please, sir? Merle? Trentham, is that right, sir? Merle Trentham? Where are you from, Mr. Trentham?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. Been very busy out your way lately, haven't they?
Yes, sir.
It's nice of you to leave that busy and active scene and come and see us. And because I want you to keep busy and active, would you mind taking a walk over there so the panel can get a better look at you?
Mr. Trentham, how are you? Any word from Molotov from out there?
All right, Mr. Trentham, over here, if you will, and sit down next to me.
Just like to know.
And, we got some help very early on tonight. Mr. Trentham, you know how we score this operation?
Yes, sir.
Well, good. If you know how we score it, there remains only one thing to do, and that is to let the folks who are at home and our guests here in the theater know exactly what your line is. All right. Mr. Trentham is salaried. Let's begin the general questioning with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Mr. Trantham, you're from San Francisco. Do you ever do your work out there?
Yes.
Do you work for a profit-making organization?
No.
That's one down and 9 to go. Mr. Allen.
Do you work for some form of the government?
Yes.
Is your work confined to San Francisco?
No.
It isn't.
That's 2 down and 8 to go. Miss White.
Do you have anything to do in what you do? Do you wear a uniform at all of any kind?
No.
3 down and 7 to go. Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Trantham, you say your work is done in San Francisco?
No, the question was, is your work restricted to San Francisco? The answer was no.
But some of it is done in San Francisco?
No.
Well, now, wait a minute. We're getting a little bit lost here. Mr. Trentham's residence, basic residence, is San Francisco, correct?
Correct.
The question was asked, is his work restricted to San Francisco? And the answer was no. You may presume, then, that he works in the vicinity, but not necessarily in the town, and proceed from that point with your little baby alligators.
Mr. Transom, you're a very severe-looking gentleman. Have you got anything to do with some restrictive agency of any kind?
Yes.
Is it anything to do with, would it have anything to do with that island out in the bay, Alcatraz?
No.
That makes it 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, does it have anything to do with anything penal?
Yes.
Are you connected with a prison or prison system?
Yes.
Are you a warden?
No.
A warden? No. That makes it 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Allen.
Well, I know you're not an inmate. Alcatraz is humanity on the rocks, I know that. You're not associated with the project at Alcatraz.
No.
Are you at San Quentin or one of the other places?
Yes.
Are you in, when you function, are you inside the edifice?
Yes.
You're not the warden.
That
No.
question has been asked,
Oh,
so
that's
I will
right.
rule that it was not
Well, there
asked.
could be 2 wardens because they don't last very long in time. And you perform a service inside the
Yes.
inside the jail. You're not the chef by any chance.
No.
Yes,
He is not the
is
chef.
not the chef. That's right.
Are you sure that Steve Allen started this way, John? I don't. Do you supervise the athletics or the
Recreation,
recreation part of the program there?
No.
That makes it 6 down and 4 to go, Miss White.
Well, now that we have gotten into prison, we can't have anything but peeking over transoms. I was thinking last week Mr. Gunn made guns. I thought maybe we could have... Do we have anything to do with, am I correct in assuming... No, they wear uniforms. Do you have anything to do with guarding of any kind?
No.
7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Do you have anything to do with uplifting the prisoners in any way, Mr. Transom?
Yes.
The answer to that, Bennett, not to mislead you, would be yes.
Am I correct that it is not of a spiritual nature?
Yes.
Do you have anything to do with the library in the jail?
No.
That makes it 8 down and 2 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, do you work inside the prison
Yes.
rather than outside? You talk to the prisoners?
Yes.
Do you do something? Do you have any office outside the prison?
No.
That makes it 9 down and 1 to go, Mr. Allen.
Are you the chaplain of the...
No.
10 down and no more to go, and Mr. Trentham is the parole officer at San Quentin.
And he doesn't have an office outside?
And Dorothy, because I think that's where your line of questioning was going, I want to
certainly
explain
was.
why Mr. Trentham does not have an office outside of San Quentin. He prepares the cases, as it were, to go before the parole board affecting each prisoner. And you also make such other recommendations for their rehabilitation as your
Yes.
office and function would require. Mr.
When
Allen?
Mr. Trantham is here, who's watching the store tonight?
I think he's got some alter
Locked up.
egos out and about in San Francisco. Sir, thank you very much for being our guest. You win the full prize, and it's good to see somebody stump the panel, because they're awful good. Nice to have you with us, Mr. Ferrer. All right, panel. Let's see what you can do with the second challenger, and I warn you, this is going to be tough, too. Will you sign in, please, ma'am? Dorothy Miller, right? Where are you from, Miss Miller?
Detroit.
From Detroit. Well, it's very nice to have you with us, and the panel would like to get as much of an opportunity to know you as I do. So will you take a hike over there, please?
Miller, how are you?
All right, would you please join me here, and I would ask you, first of all, if you're familiar with our scoring operation, how we do it. I never get a chance to explain it anymore, but if you know how we score this thing, let's let the folks at home and those who are guests here in the theater know exactly what your line is, and then we'll take on the panel. All righty, panel. Miss Miller is salaried. Let's begin the general questioning with Fred Allen.
Miss Miller, is there a product connected with what you do?
Yes, there is.
There is a product. Is this product something that makes people happy?
Yes.
It does make people happy. Is this product something that would be attractive to look at?
Yes.
Is this something that if a woman had, it would make her more attractive to the opposite sex?
Yes.
Well, I gather this is something other than clothing.
Yes.
It's not clothing.
No.
If a woman had enough of this on her when she went out, would you be able to smell it?
No, Fred.
It's not a perfume?
It's not a perfume. No, it is not something that you'd be able to smell. That's one
I'm in the wrong channel again.
One down and 9 to go, Miss White.
Is it a product that would be found in the home? Yes. Is it a product, for instance, could it be consumed in any way? No.
You mean eaten
Or
or
drinking
drunk
or
something like that? Well, that's very good of you. That's no. That makes it 2
Oh, it's
down and
well.
8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Miller, might this be a product that is ever grown?
No.
I mean, it couldn't be a vegetable.
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen. Oh, I have such a wonderful clue I could give them. I'll tell it to you.
Oh, very funny.
I guess it wasn't very funny. Well, there you are. All right, Miss Kilgallen, it's 3 down and 7 to go.
Is this a manufactured product?
Yes, I think you could say so. It is produced by the manipulations of hand and machine. To that degree, it is
That's
a
all I ask.
manufactured product.
Is the manufacture of this product somewhat restricted?
Yes.
I mean, if I wanted to manufacture this, is it possible I
No, I would say that you would not probably.
couldn't? You have said that this isn't vegetable or couldn't be eaten like a vegetable, but is it ever the color of lettuce? Fred said, you said yes, that if a woman had enough of this on it, she'd be more attractive. If a man had a lot of this on him, would he be more attractive too?
Yes.
Has it anything to do with our monetary system?
Yes.
Do you have something to do with greenbacks?
Yes.
And now all you have to do, this is very good, Dorothy. You found the product, but now you have to tell us what it is that Miss Miller has to do with the product.
Well, do you work in any mint?
Do you work in any mint?
No.
No. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Allen.
She doesn't work for the government at all?
No.
You don't wash old money, do you?
No.
You might have a money laundromat. I thought you might have.
No,
filthy
get a
lucre.
note of that. That's 5 down and 5 to go, Miss White.
You'd work in a mint. I'm only thinking out loud now, you understand. You'd work in a mint if you did anything with the drawing and the... Do you fold money? No.
That makes it 6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Well, do you work in a bank or trust company or brokerage office, Miss Miller?
Yes.
Is it a bank?
Yes.
Do you come in contact with the customers of the bank?
No.
7 down and 3 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
But you do something with money.
Yes.
You have actual physical contact with those beautiful bills.
Yes.
Do you count them?
No.
Do you... Oh,
8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do you inspect them to see if they're counterfeit?
No.
9 down and
Dorothy
1 to
told
go,
me.
Mr.
Dorothy, wait a minute now, wait a minute. That was for Dorothy. I'd like to ask my own.
9 down and 1 to go, Miss White.
Do you deal with people as well as with money in what you do?
You mean the general public?
The general public. No.
That's 10 down and no more to go. This was really tough because actually Miss Miller is located in a bank in Detroit, and it kind of takes you away from her basic function. She's employed by the Detroit branch of the Federal Reserve System, and she burns money, supervises its gathering, throws it in a furnace.
I'd like Miss Miller to meet my wife sometime. She burns money.
When you asked if it was a vegetable, I was going to say, I said at that time to Miss Miller, some people think it grows on trees, which is an old sentence I beat my wife up with sometimes, too. Well, Miss Miller, congratulations on stumping the panel. Hope you enjoyed your visit. It was very nice to have you with us on What's My Line. Good night. And I'm glad you didn't ask about non-profit and profit-making, because the Federal Reserve System is non-profit. It's a fiscal agent of the federal government, but it's not a part of the government. But the branch banks are profit-making, and I'd have been lost. So thank you for not asking the question. All right, in just a moment, we'll meet tonight's mystery. The special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which my friends and colleagues are properly blindfolded. Are those blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, Mr. Dale.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? Panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery celebrity, we get right down to the general questioning. The new rules that apply are that you ask one question at a time, moving clockwise, and we'll begin the questioning with Miss White.
Are you male, I hope?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Cerf?
Are you representative of the entertainment industry?
Well, I am not representative, but I'm a member of.
Miss Kilgallen?
Are you a motion picture actor?
From time to time, I am, yes.
Are you in a picture that's currently showing in New York?
Unfortunately, no, but soon I hope.
You're unemployed.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss White.
Don't get personal.
Do you sing?
Yes. Not like it's your pinch, huh? But I sing.
Mr. Cerf?
I think I recognize that voice. Have you ever portrayed Toulouse-Lautrec
Once.
in Moulin Rouge? Okay.
Yes, all right.
Once is enough, isn't it? Are you Jose Ferrer?
I beg your pardon, Miss Kilgallen?
Is this Moulin Rouge? Is that what he said?
That's right.
Well, are you Jose Ferrer?
Can I come over?
Bennett, didn't you ask my wife if she was married to Toulouse-Lautrec very recently? She said no, as I remember.
I was going to say, Jose, that lovely bride of yours was with us not so long ago, and she gave him a tougher run than you did.
I know, isn't it terrible?
We thought that we were going to give you a much tougher time of this because we have a problem with the panel, Jose. I know it. You know, I know they look in the papers and they find out who's going to be in New York.
Oh, no.
Well, John,
that's
there's a
a very
picture called The
difficult-
Shrike coming in, which I'm sure Jose's going to talk about
Yes,
in a minute.
but you haven't seen any notice that Jose was in New York because he got back from Europe this very morning. You know, we thought you wouldn't have a
It's in
chance.
tomorrow morning's Mirror, which we just read up in the dressing room.
Oh, you can't win. You just can't win. Yes, Miss Dorothy.
Well, I was just going to say, I really didn't read the New York Mirror, but that's an awfully difficult voice to disguise. There are only a few voices like that in the world, and I can't name the other 2 or 3.
And he sings, too. He said
That's
so.
right.
Well, I think
On
I was
record.
stretching a point, wasn't I?
Do you have your-
I leave that to my
aunt,
wife.
Charlie's aunt, you said.
Do you have your long legs on tonight?
Well, Jose, actually, you did fly back in this morning. I suppose it was because the Shrike is open.
Yes, the Shrike is opening the same day that Miss White's show, Make the Connection, July 7th.
Oh, that dirty pool.
And you just made the connection.
I'm at the Victoria Theater,
Ah.
instead of being with Miss White.
Well, I would ask you to convey to that lovely wife of yours the best wishes of all of us. She was a
I
wonderful
certainly
guest,
will.
and our thanks to you for being our guest.
Thank
in
you
What's
very
My
much.
Line.
Hey, wouldn't you say a word about the lady that plays opposite you in The Shrike? She's one of my favorites.
June, she's one of my favorites. She was before, and she really is now.
June Allison.
June Allison, yes. Wonderful, wonderful girl and a wonderful actress.
Yes, I think we could get into this conversation. It could last for days. So, Mr.
I could play the whole Shrike for you.
Thanks very much. Jose.
Thank
It was
you very
wonderful
much,
to have
John.
you with us. And would you say...
Sorry I didn't give you a better run for your money.
Good to have you with us. The panel's fault. All right, panel. You have recovered much ground. Let's see what you can do with another and final challenger. Would you come in and sign in, please, ma'am? Joan Carpenter, right?
Yes.
very properly, there are some young gentlemen with spring still fresh in their minds who are wolf whistling, but you can all stop because I know a secret. Miss Carpenter this morning became Mrs. Ale Manistiano. Is that right? Congratulations. Married this morning. Will you take a look at the panel? And panel, will you look at Mrs. Ale Manistiano? And will you come over and sit down next to me? I'm not going to share you with the panel. You sit right over here. We're a little bit short of time, so we'll pass up the panel's usual opportunity to get a close look at you. I will ask you if you know how we score this operation.
Yes, I do.
Good. Then there is just necessarily one step to take now, and that is to let the people who are at home and those who are here in the theater know exactly what your line is. And so we will announce that you're salaried and begin the general questioning with Bennett Cerf.
You didn't tell us where you were from, Miss Carpenter, did you? You are from New York?
Yes.
From New York, yes.
And you were married this morning?
That's right.
Well, well, well. Is there a product connected with what you do?
No, there isn't.
That's 1 down and 9 to go. Miss Kilgallen.
Then you deal in services? Yes. Do your services apply to both men and women? Yes. Could children ever avail themselves of your services? Yes. Do you work in an enclosure? Yes. Does the enclosure ever take off? I beg your pardon?
Does the enclosure ever take off?
No.
No, it does not. 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do you work for a profit-making organization? You do. And you deal with children exclusively?
Oh, no.
Not
York?
exclusively.
3 down and 7 to go. Mr.
I knew
Allen.
it would take you so long to make up your mind, John.
I'm sorry, Fred.
That wait to be manipulated, you know.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss White.
Well, we don't want to keep you here too long, Miss Carpenter. Do you, by any chance, in dealing with the public, we don't know that you deal with the public. However, I'm assuming that you deal with men, women, and children. Do you ever come in physical contact with them?
Yes.
Do you change their appearance in any way?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Carpenter, does your work require some special training?
Yes.
Do you have some kind of a degree of some sort?
No, I was going to say, before you ask that
Oh, well,
question, there is
no.
certainly some special training involved. I would question that it necessarily comes within our standard terms of reference, but since the
there is
reply
some
was
special
affirmative, I'll let it stand.
I see. There is some special training. Do you wear any particular garb when you're doing this service?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
In other words, you just wear a dress? Yes.
We hope so.
Well, I know what Bennett was thinking of. Her nose is sunburned, and I thought of a bathing suit, too. That's a convertible. Try it. Oh.
Convertible?
You work indoors, then, when you're doing your work?
Yes.
That's a rather tentative yes. Could you go outside sometimes? Yes. Is there anything educational about what you do, or instructive?
Yes.
People learn something from you?
Yes.
Do you demonstrate anything?
Comme ci, comme ça. You could describe it as demonstrating in part, yes.
Would you talk to the people?
Yes.
Very sociable.
Do they ever ask you anything?
Yes.
And you answer them? And it's too late, isn't it?
Yes, I'm afraid it's too
I'm
late.
nowhere.
I have to
Dancing?
Dancing is right, but it came too late, and so Miss Carpenter gets the full price. She actually is a mambo instructor. Mambo? For the Fred Astaire Dance Studio. Thank you very much for being our guest, and a long and happy marriage to you, ma'am. It was nice to have you with us on What's My Line. We'll be back in just... Francis will be back with us next week, and I would say a fond farewell to Miss Betty White and tell you, Miss Betty, it's been grand having you with us, and you did a fine job. Until next week, this is John Daly saying good night, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Good night, Fred. Shall we resign together or separately?
Together, as a small, select group. And good night, Betty, and good luck on your show. Make your connection. Make the connection.
Thank you, Fred, and thanks for an awful lot of fun around here. And come on home, Arlene. All is forgiven. Good night, Bennett.
Thank you, Betty. Good night, Arlene. Look out for those one-armed bandits in Las Vegas. Good night, John.
And good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
Transportation for What's My Line is arranged through American Airlines, America's leading airline, serving 77 major cities throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico. This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network.